Welcome back to our next SAM.gov bids live episode number 60, where we walk through small business solicitations together on SAM.gov and answer your questions along the way so that you too can start bidding and winning contracts on SAM.gov for your small government contracting business. Now, today we will be reviewing 5 small business solicitations that I've pulled up on SAM that we will be jumping into in just a second. But if you're new here and you don't want to miss future SAM Bids live episodes, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you can ask your questions live on future streams. I've just recently launched our free federal contracts masterclass for the new year. The link is down below, and in the masterclass, I answer many hot questions for free that others make you pay for. And I also teach you the new rules of the government contracting space that you need to start playing by to be successful in this ever-growing industry. And lastly, if you're just starting out and you're wanting to middleman government contracts the legal way, our new book, The Legal Middleman Method, is available at legalmiddleman.com/book. The book is also a great fit for those who don't necessarily want to legal middleman, but want to learn more about the process of bidding, submitting their own offers, being compliant, etc. The book covers all this and a lot more in detail, and the book truly offers something substantial to help everybody who is new to government contracting. So if you have not yet, definitely check that out. And hello, everybody on our live today, hanging out with us. If you are live, let us know that what state you're representing. And then also, if this is your first time on the live today, let me know that this is your first live as well. Welcome, welcome, everybody. And while we do that, I will pull up a sneak peek at the bids that we will be looking at for today. Bid number 1 is weed control services for the FAA Denver Airport. Number 2 is strong bonds event. Number 3, grounds maintenance services, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I've also done work there myself. Number 4, portable toilet rentals for Marine Corps Base Hawaii. And number 5, if we have time, financial industrial specialist. All right, we got Josh Perkins hanging out with us. Also first time from Missouri. Hello and welcome. Welcome, Carla Cole. Please convert a solicitation to PDF. That's not something we do on the show. Margaret Stevens, good morning. Good morning. Just submitted a bid on Unison this morning. Congratulations. Is that your first bid, Margaret? Welcome, Vinny. This is my first time. Welcome, Vinny Hatton. Josh says that he got the book and that it's amazing, and he read it in 2 days. Love it, Josh. Thank you for letting us know that. That's amazing. Red alert, I watched the masterclass, and it was very informational. Love it. Familia Lopez, good morning to you. Money with apps. Can you type the website for middleman? Yes, so it's just legalmiddleman.com. If you're looking for the book, it'll be /book. Got Lil Low, first time joining from Texas. Welcome. And Vinny's first time as well out of North Carolina. Cashing out with Nisi, good to see you. Tampa, Florida. Feeling okay. I've been having issues where I kind of get lightheaded from talking too much, and a bit of anxiety, things mixed with that I've been trying to figure out. Still haven't totally figured it out yet, however. Hello, Latifa. Good to see you. We've got, let me see. So Kenya Alexis, hopefully I pronounced that close properly. For, Atlanta, Georgia, first timer, took the master class as well and got the book. Awesome. Colorado Springs. Also, we got Najee Vereen. Happy Monday, folks. West Palm Beach, waiting on my cage code to start bidding. That is awesome. Congratulations. And yes, hopefully it comes very quickly for you. And for everybody else who is joining in, we're just going to go ahead and get started with the first bid of the day. Again, weed control services for the FAA Denver Airport. So this bid is actually due in a few days, March 7th, small business set aside. This is put under the 561730 Landscape Service NAICS code, and this is out of Denver. They're letting us know in the description that they have issued one amendment to incorporate the site visit sign-in sheet, as well as Q&A docs. This has been going on already. Site visit was last month, so there's a bit of catch-up, it looks like. Probably too late for anybody to actually jump in and bid on this particular one. But this looks like the amendment. We have the solicitation doc, the statement of work, We have a wage determination, customer satisfaction survey, and then contractor questionnaire. So we can take a peek at the solicitation and see what we can learn from this. All right. So we do have our cover sheet to get started with. Are they telling us? It appears to be an SF 1449 form. And they put the pricing cleanse right on it. So we know literally nothing about this other than, once again, it is weed control. But however, they're referencing a base year for a monthly and an annual amount. And that's going to be for a period of performance from May to April of the following year. So it actually tells us quite a bit of info in just a short amount of space here in the pricing cleanse. And then we go straight on to option year 1, 2, 3, and 4. So a base plus 4, nice 5-year contract that will take you all the way through April of 2029. Zoom in a bit more. We have our supplies or service schedule here, giving us some more information, particularly more towards the site visit, scope of work, very short. Weed control services at facilities maintained by the FAA Denver Airport Group. This contractor shall provide all labor, materials, and services and insurance required to sterilize herbicide, the soils and the areas specified in the appendices, with one solid application to the bare ground annually, and then touch-ups to the bare grounds as required to maintain the inhibition of growth throughout the year. So do what you got to do. Keep the weeds down. It's probably the shortest scope of work I've ever seen. One paragraph. We have reps and certs, and then we do have a section L, instruction to offers, supposedly. So they're giving us more specifically, here's where it actually is going to kick in. Submission of offer. Offers shall submit the following: cover letter, signed solicitation, part 1. So this is reps and certs. And then a technical proposal, certificate of liability from your insurance company, no less than 3 past performance experience, or past experiences references rather, and then no less than 3 past performance submittals. And that will be reflected on the customer satisfaction survey that they're giving us right here. So probably not a bad time to open this. This is just a 1-pager. And then please rate your overall satisfaction. How quickly did they respond to your needs? How would you rate the problem solving? How would you rate the performance for the on-site employees? Okay, so that will correspond with the past experiences. So technical, insurance, past experience, and past performance. And what's the difference between past experience and past performance? Experience is work that you did. Past performance is how well you did on the work, or how you did on the work. And then for evaluation factors, this would be, they're saying low price, but you're still going to have to be technically acceptable, which means they're looking for this specific information here, boxes that you still have to check to be considered with your pricing. Oops, wrong one. They did give us a separate statement of work. Curious if that's the same, or yeah, so this is actually the actual statement of work. It's 11 pages, so a bit longer. And we also have the amendment. So you will have to formally acknowledge this amendment by filling out box 8 and boxes 15, A, B, and C. to formally acknowledge the amendment with your offer, you include this with your response in the email that you submit to the contracting officer. So Amendment 1 is to incorporate, as they mentioned, the site visit sign-in sheet and Q&A. So here's Q&A. Who's the incumbent? This is a new requirement. So nobody's doing this work, which means it's either a new location, unlikely, or more likely the government was doing it themselves before, and now they want to have a contractor do it instead. How much is the total current contract price? This is a new requirement, so we don't have that info. They're relying on you to propose. Measurements. You kind of get the idea here. So really helpful information that when you're looking at your solicitation on SAM.gov, you want to make sure you read through that thoroughly and extensively. Let's see. Byron Ford from Texas. Good to have you. Margaret says, yes, that was my first bid this morning. Finally got out of analysis paralysis. That is huge. Josh says, how do we access the proposal skeleton template? Josh, feel free to email us. I'm not sure if you're talking about a purchase that you made or which, what you're referencing specifically. Jack, first live out of Troy, Ohio. Just got my cage code. That is huge. Congratulations. Maria says, hey, Derek. So happy I caught you live. Absolutely. And Miguel Lafarga. Hey, Derek. What's going on? Miguel, good to see you from LinkedIn, it looks like. Do I need to complete if there were no changes to the solicitation other than the document being added? So if you're talking about amendments, you always have to formally acknowledge amendment when it's given to you, unless the box is checked saying that you don't have to formally acknowledge it, and that will be inside the amendment itself. The second bid we have is the Strong Bonds event for the Army National Guard. This will be small business set aside, 721-110 Hotel NAICS code. Offers are due March 11th. This is out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And this looks like it'll be 17th, 18th, and 19th of May. So a 3-day event. Yeah, Josh, that would be through the course. We don't like just have that like open kind of thing. So we really have attachments here, an RFQ, and then a performance of work statement. So we're immediately hit with pricing cleanse as the RFQ. So they're saying double occupancy rooms to accommodate 2 adults, and then 35 rooms for the night of the 17th of May, 35 rooms for the 18th of May. So that's one CLIN. And then they're saying a conference room, 1 conference room for 3 days and nights. Dinner meals, 140 of those, 70 plus 70. Breakfast meals, same thing. Lunch meals, looks like just 1 lunch on the day, on the 18th. Probably going to get a late start, more towards the evening. And then the second day is like the full day. And then on the third day, it's kind of just waking up and going. That's kind of what story these pricing CLINs would tell to me. And if we're looking at 17th, 18th, 19th of May, is that going to be, that'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's pretty consistent. That makes sense. So we do see a instruction to offers here. Read thoroughly. Contracting is telling us proposal format will consist of, what are they telling us here? They're basically just saying you have to conform with what they're giving you. They're giving us generic statements for the format. More specifically, all pricing CLINs must be completed in the schedule that we just looked at. Then also the technical approach will address the menu, the plan of execution, if there's any subcontractor, written evidence between the offer and the hotel manager of the tentative blocking of the rooms, just giving them a bit of goodwill, good faith. And then relative information to the actual venue itself, reflecting how it's going to meet, for example, the rooms, the conference rooms, the meals. Separately from the technical, we also have past performance over the last 3 years. Any JVs, then you will be providing JV information as well. And then for evaluation, it's going to be what is most advantageous to the government: past performance, technical, and price being considered. However, it's a bit of a trade-off. Technical and past performance, when combined, are more important than price. They wanted to have a retreat-like feel, they're saying. So this is more of a best value trade-off as opposed to a lowest price. They did give us a separately attached statement of work, however, where it'll go into more detail about the rooms, the conference room. So we see the sleeping rooms here, meeting spaces, dining area, conference room. They're even breaking it down by day, so that's nice as well. And then as well as the meals for catering, it looks like, with some example meals as well. Rick 777 good to see you. Question: do you have to have a GSA schedule in order to accept government purchase cards? No. No. GSA schedules are totally different. I mean, they can overlap, but they don't have to overlap. So like a government P card, you just need to be able to process card. It's going to be a credit card payment. You need to be able to process credit cards. Nothing to do with a GSA schedule. Am I supposed to fill out the RFQ document itself and return with my proposal? Yeah, so like if you have an SF 1449 form, print, date, sign, kind of like what we saw in the amendment earlier as well, then yes, you will need to complete and return that. Does a JV subcontractor team arrangement generally work the same? So a subcontractor is who you would work with, and the teaming arrangement is like the agreement. It's the binding nature that you have between you and the sub. So there is a difference between like the two, right? The sub is the entity that you're working with, and then the teaming agreement or arrangement is the relationship that two of you have, like a marriage. Hey, Derek, I have 3 questions. What is Pi? So Pi is a system that you get set up to bill an invoice. Second, if the POC provides the current incumbent and rate for the contract, should you base your quote around that? Even if the statement of work has changed? No, it's actually, in fact, the opposite. We can't just rely on the incumbent value, hook, line, and sinker, because the statement of work could change. And we often don't have the old solicitation documents to compare an old price against the current solicitation documents. So incumbent values are only somewhat helpful. We have to use them with a grain of salt. Good question. So next we have grounds maintenance services at Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. So this will be small business set aside, 561730 landscaping services out of Mechanicsburg. They're straight up telling us in the description on the SAM.gov listing page here. This will be a base plus 4. So nice 5 years, will not exceed 60 months. Must be registered in SAM. In terms of attachments, we see we have an RFP doc. We have section C annexes, section J annexes, and then we have, looks like an amendment. So I will look at the RFP first. So this is going to reflect the base year, They're just saying straight up ground maintenance at the Naval Support Activity, Mechanicsburg. And then non-reoccurring work. So they have reoccurring work and non-reoccurring work. And then option year 1 for that, option year 2, 3, and 4. So that's how they want that priced. So funny enough, they're literally talking about the P cards here. Government Purchase Card Program. The contractor shall accept orders placed by authorized GPC users. Government Purchase Card is a purchasing instrument issued through a commercial bank to a government agency, right? So it's a bank card. A micro purchase is any order of supplies for supplies in the amount of $10,000 or less, or services $2,500 or less, or for construction it's $2,000 or less. So they're talking about the government P card micro purchases here. I know we had a question about that a minute ago. So we, excuse me, we do have our, looked like they're going to give us a delivery schedule, but then they kind of took it away. Government performance assessment, letting you know how you would be rated during the performance, along with the deliverables that would be due throughout the duration of the contract, and who those are due to. For example, 7 days, within 2 working days, within 2 working days before work commences, right? Permits and licenses. So something, especially if you win a contract, that's going to be your kind of your first go-to. You want to get these deliverables to the core or to the contracting officer. You don't want to be late on those deliverables. So we don't always talk about that a lot because it's not related to teeing up your actual response proposals, but it's very important when it comes to the execution and management of the contract. So all works within 50-mile radius of Mechanicsburg. Nikki, you were not late. You were right on time. And welcome, Ronald, from North Carolina. So we have our reps and certs now. Okay, so now it looks like we're on to what we're looking for. Instructions, section L. Name of offer and date. Content of proposal. This is a non-cost and price proposals that shall be submitted as separate attachments. Non-price factors. You must submit 3 hard copies and 1 on a CD-ROM. Okay, so you're going to be mailing in your response. Okay, 8.5 by 11 format, 12 point times New Roman 100-page limit. Again, for the non-price cost factors here, they want a covered page as well. They only want responses for factors 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they want those separated by tabs. Okay, this is important, guys. These are tripwires. These are things that if you don't do them, you can literally be thrown out without being evaluated because your response would not be found to be compliant. Okay, if you have an SBA-approved JV or mentor or protege program. Okay, so all the non-price stuff that you would expect. And then there's the price stuff. And every bid is different, guys. Especially for those of you who are new, maybe you're catching this, not catching this for the first time live, but maybe it's the first time you're catching the show live, ever seen it. Every bid is different. So the stuff that we're going over is not what you should repeat on your future bids. What you need to do is to learn how to read so that you can learn how to respond. You need to learn how to walk before you can run. And so I'm showing you, I'm literally tee up in these episodes where you need to go for the critical information to not only make bid, no bid decisions, but to, you can decide, and then based off of what you need to include in your responses, if that's something you feel good about or not. And if you don't, you pass. And if you do, then you move on to take this info and then to plug it into developing an outline. And then if you're working with subcontractors, then you get that conversation going, you're getting the pricing, you're getting the proposal information, and then you put it all together, right? You do all that before you submit. You also do a proper review before you submit. And preferably you're following the rule of two, where you're getting multiple offers, not just one. So factors 1 through 4. Technical approach, corporate experience, safety, past performance. This is what they're going to be looking for to rate and grade your response very specifically. It looks like they give you even more info here than they did in section L. So very often you will rely on section M to also help you to respond compliantly rather than just section L, because it's what they're going to be looking for. So this is how we tee up and respond to our proposals. Curious what the section J annex is, just out of curiosity. Okay, so they're breaking it out of the solicitation, which includes definitions, wage determinations, actual pricing sheet, it looks like. Actually, really important information in here. Near miss reports. Wow, actually a lot of important information here. Miguel, amazing info, Derek. Going through contracts and being able to read them and understand them is key. 1000%. I'm glad that the info helps as well. I totally agree. All right, we got Louie Moore. You're awesome, Mr. Derek. Good to see you. Good to see you, Louie Moore. Lauren Warren, hey, is there one topic of conversation today that you are sharing info about? Hey, Lauren, that's a great question. I've also thought about that many times in the past. But I didn't ever want to like isolate the audience, meaning like, oh, we already know what that is, so like let's click off. So really what the show is we focus on 3, 4, or 5 different bids for the day. We just kind of quickly go through them, break them down, and we kind of practice our skills of reading, and in some cases even teeing up a bit of an outline based on what we read. So that's really the theme, what you will, with each show. And what makes each show different is we go through different bids, different industries, but things that we can all relate to, because it's all federal contracting, it's all on SAM, and these are all solicitations, meaning they're not source assaults or pre-sols or awards. So it's kind of that combination of commonalities from show to show, but also the difference that makes each show different, if that makes sense. Hey, Louie, what days do you go live? So I can, usually every Monday. What we have been doing as of this year, I should say, because I always leave room for flexibility. But this year, we have been doing Mondays at noon Central Time. And welcome, Alan, out of Georgia. This is your first live. Welcome. That's awesome. And reps and certs, they're representations and certifications. They are a section of a solicitation where you are attesting to certain things about your business entity. Good news is if you're already registered in SAM, got a cage code, you've actually already answered those questions. But it's information that contracting needs to have to date that you would typically provide with your responses. You can either download that from your FAR DFAR report, or you can fill it out inside the solicitation body as well. Next bid we have is the portable toilet rentals for Marine Corps base in Hawaii. So this is for the Navy. This is due March 29th. Looks like it may have been extended. 562991 septic tank and related services, NAICS code, and then out of Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, MCBH. Marine Corps Base, Hawaii. Looks like we have just one document, which is our solicitation for this. So we have our SF 1449 form. And within that, we have our statement of work, starting off with tasks. Task number 1, 40 portable toilets and 16 hand wash stations. They need this from May 31st to August 7th. So it'll be like a rental. So you will have to transport these. And they will also have to be serviced 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So the government will give you 1 week cancellation that way, because you don't want to continue to pay, your distributor if you're renting these from them. And then the government's like, oh, hey, we don't need these. And then, you got to pay for that out of your profit. You don't want to do that. So the government's saying they'll give you 1 week notice. We have our pricing cleanse. So they're allowing us to price out for the 40 toilets separately. Okay, so actually they're doing the sub cleanse. So really what it is it's for 2 months. They want the price for the 40 toilets. Then they want to see the price for a weekly rental. And then they're breaking out the hand washing stations as well for 2 months, and then a weekly rental for those. And then the servicing for 9 weeks, and then for 2 days. So kind of interesting how they're breaking that up. Honestly, I would need to also delivery and pickup as well. They're giving us. I need to understand that a little bit better. It might be worthy of an RFI. Again, we're seeing the period of performance and the place performance reflected in the delivery schedule here, end of May through the end of July, and then August. So yeah, that's also probably why they're giving us interesting looking pricing cleanse, because the delivery schedule is interesting looking as well. But we do have Staff Sergeant James Nunez, which will likely be the core on this throughout, as well as the phone number and address for him as a POC. So we have these are the reps and certs. I know we had a question about that earlier. The offer represents, right? Reps and certs. This is the section regarding covered telecom, which covered telecom is basically IT for IT supplies and services in nature relating to companies out of China that are banned. So we do have our wage termination, and essentially that's it. Again, we will have to do the SF 1449 form. We're not seeing any formal instruction to offerors evaluation factors here. This is RFQ, so will likely consist of a pricing response only. Jack says, hey, I was stationed there. Amazing. I do let the subs know that it's for a government customer. I don't like to give the subs any surprises. However, you will have to manage that relationship, because once you let the subs know that it is for a government customer, the biggest thing that happens initially is they think the government has deep pockets. And as I always say, the sub will lose you the bid way more often than you will lose the bid yourself. So you have to manage them as part of your job as a prime contractor to educate them that the government does not have deep pockets. They should not be paying, more than what is fair and reasonable in the commercial space. How to price when the contracting officer has not given the previous contract info and its lowest bid acceptable. Yeah, so the way that you price is you get multiple, well, there's 2 ways, right? Because there's 2 ways to perform and fulfill on the contract. You can either self-perform it, right? Or you can work with a subcontractor. If you're self-performing it, that means you're doing it yourself, which means you should already know how to price this. You should already have the experience in the industry, the level of expertise, or you have somebody on your team who has that, where you're able to price this in-house and fulfill it in-house, okay? That's self-performance. Many who start in government contracting, they don't even have established businesses, which means they don't have that experience and skill set. So they would be relying on and working with managing a subcontractor. That's what we call legal middlemaning here on the channel. When you legal middleman, that means you're going after contract opportunities where it is illegal to 100% work with a subcontractor, because there's many cases and instances where just giving a sub an entire contract is illegal, and that's called an illegal pass-through scheme. So you have to understand the legal middleman method, the way to do that, which is why we have this book, which is why we have the course that goes with the book for those who are wanting to learn how to do that the right way. That's the second way of fulfilling performing on the contract. So if you don't know how to price this in-house, coming back to the question, then you're getting multiple quotes, multiple estimates, and that's going to get you closer to a reasonable estimate of what this work would cost, because you're getting quotes from folks who do this all the time in the commercial sector of their business, and now they're quoting to do it for you. Leading back to the thing I said a minute ago, the price shouldn't be different because this is a government customer. The government's not looking to pay an astronomical fee just because they're the federal government. That's not how this works, right? So the work should be quoted the way it would be quoted in the commercial space. And if you're legal middlemaning, that means you're working with folks who quote this in the commercial space all the time. That's how you're going to get close in accuracy. And then you tighten that even more so by getting multiple quotes. When you hire a sub to do the work, do they also have to be registered in SAM? No, they do not. Subs typically do not have to be registered in SAM.gov. They do not have to have a cage code. You're the prime. You're the one with the award with the government, the contract. You're the one who has to have the cage code. So when calling a sub, do you just ask for a quote for what is on the sheet for each line? Yeah, so I recommend that you tee up your own request for quotation. I also always say that the first time calling a subcontractor, you're vetting them. So you're not saying, hey, give me a price. You want to look for red flags. You want to see if they've been burned in the past. You want to see if this is somebody that could be a potential good fit to get into a marriage with, because you should not be desperate just to get a quote or a number. You want to find the right fit, or at least do your best to find who could be the best fit. And then once you have a level of fitness, if there's a site visit, they can go represent your company by doing that. And then you're also providing your own request for quotation. Literally all stuff that we talk about in the book. And then I give you all those documents in the course, because I know we talk about them here on the show, but I can't really give them to you through a show. So that's why we have a course where all that stuff is in there. If you're interested in doing more. We're doing more bid proposal training videos. Josh, do you mean like this? Because this is episode 60. So we've been doing 60 episodes thus far, unless you're talking about a different type of video. Do contracting officers have to wait until the due date of the award of the contract? Yeah. Contracting has to wait until after the proposal due date, the response submission due date, to issue an award. They can't issue an award until all offers have been received. Miguel, main differences between regular contracts and SAP. It's kind of like apples and oranges, because SAP contracts can be regular contracts. Simplified acquisition contracts are not regular contracts. So I wouldn't compare them in that way. Simplified acquisition means that there's special, more streamlined, less costly procedures that contracting can use to find and award to contractors, largely being for contracts under 250K, as indicated by the simplified acquisition threshold. So the threshold where you could use simplified acquisition procedures is 250K. So that's really the way that to separate it, under 250 or over 250. And that SAT can change, but it got raised during COVID. New to the space, I saw a solicitation for the BOP that needed 6 airline tickets and 4 for a return flight. Is there something special that I need to say? I probably would need more context, honestly, to be able to. The general answer to that question is you provide them what they're asking for. There's nothing special you have to say. Yeah, and doing airlines, I've never done an airline type contract. If you're going through like Spirit or American, I can almost guarantee they're not going to do you anything special. What does sole source mean? It means contracting is writing a justification and approval, a J&A, to give the contract straight to a company, because it means that they have conducted market research and another company cannot provide the supplier service in a way that is not going to cause some sort of undue harm or some sort of additional cost, and that becomes the justification for straight giving it to a company. Do you have to register in WAF? When you win a contract, you will receive instructions on what you need to do to properly invoice. WAF is Wide Area Workflow, which is the most commonly used platform. You get registered in PI, as was mentioned earlier, PIE, and then you also register through WAF. Yeah, Louis Moore, you got it. Salima, hey Derek, how do you know if the prime is doing subcontracting? How do you know if the prime is doing the subcontracting the legal way? Do you recommend as a sub looking into the solicitation yourself if you're looking to sub? I don't ever recommend being the sub on this channel, because this channel is primarily for new government, recently got your cage code, maybe within the last 6 months, and you're trying to learn how to bid and win contracts. So my message is very geared towards those folks. It's not geared for folks that are wanting to go and be a sub for a couple of years. I know in the space, it's the dogma of the industry is you need to be a subcontractor first, do that for a couple of years, and then you can earn the right to be a prime. It's just not true, right? I work with many clients who in their first 2 to 3 months, never doing this, they win their first contract or contracts. They didn't have to waste a couple of years being a sub first. So I'm not really going to answer the question, just because my message is geared towards being the prime. You tried registering on WAF, but it gives me an error. You would have to contact them about that. However, with that being said, I wouldn't try to register in WAF without having a contract award. So do you have a contract award in hand? Because it might be difficult to go through the entire process without having a contract to apply that to. How do you make a capability statement with no experiences? Can you use past performance from your employer's job work? Yeah, so you can use what we call personal past performance. It is written into the FAR, the Federal Acquisition Regulations, where you can use your own personal experience or key predecessor companies, other companies that you've owned or worked with to showcase that. You also do not have to put past experience on a capability statement if you don't want to. You can talk more about the capabilities of the work that you can do, that you're set up to do. You don't necessarily have to cite work you've done in the past. It's just that if you have that, you certainly can use that as well. Okay. Financial industrial specialist. This will be federal prisons. Oh, interesting. Federal Prisons Industry, Inc. Department of Justice. This almost looks like a subcontract from a larger contract. Yeah, so I actually don't want to show you. I mean, we can look at it, but it's not typically what we would be interested in going after. Yeah, probably not a great. See, guys, like I don't go through these at all ahead of time. I like to keep it raw and real with you when we go through these. Doesn't usually happen where we find something like this where it's actually with another business posted on SAM. I guess not a bad thing for you to be aware of, but not really something that you need to be worried about right now. Yeah, so I don't think we will want to go after this one. Margaret says no contract yet. So yeah, that could be the issue for the error. But I'm on a roll right now. I feel more confident since submitting on Unison. That's what happens, guys. This is about pushing a snowball. And the hardest part about pushing a snowball is to get it rolling. But once it gets rolling, you get momentum. It starts pushing it with you, and things start to happen. You start to improve. You start to learn. You even start to win over time without even what feels like as much effort as you did at the beginning to get started with. So just know that that is the expectation. Okay, it's hard at the beginning, but it's supposed to be. Can you middleman a commercial real estate contract with not actually owning the commercial space? I don't talk about real estate or leasing contracts because they're really all are a different ballgame. And you need to have an expert or professional who is able to read leasing contracts because they're very different than most other type of contracts we see in GovCon. But you are able to work with a broker, right, or an agent to provide the space. We do see that. It's just being able to, again, make your way through that leasing language. Definitely. So guys, we've gotten so much great feedback on our masterclass. It's totally free. It's updated for the new year 2024. If you have not, I highly recommend that you check that out. And then I know we had some folks that were asking about the book. So I'm just dropping the links down below for both of those. You get the free masterclass. You can also check out the book. We're shipping books out multiple times per week, and people are loving it. The feedback is amazing. So definitely check those out. We will go ahead and conclude the episode here, guys. So amazing questions. Hopefully it was beneficial to you. And a lot of great progress, a lot of firsts, a lot of amazing things going on with our community. And I just love to see it. So guys, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell if you have not, so that you don't miss future episodes and you can ask your questions live on future streams. And we will go ahead and wrap up for today, and we will see you all in the next one. Yeah, again, the book, the link, and the link for the masterclass and the book is down below. So, all right, take care, guys. We will see you all in the next one.